The Still Loading podcast is brought to you by the wonderful people on Patreon. Amazing people like Pib Extra, Parallax Puddles, Melissa S., Ryan K., Matt aka Stormageddon, Doug from the Nostalgia Marcanon podcast, Kevin from the Bit by Bit Foundation, Gilmer, Stephen P., and Mr. Biscuits have all been wonderful enough to support the show over there. So if you would also like to get your name read at the beginning of an episode, along with a bunch of other goodies, go over to patreon.com/stillloadingpod and check out everything it has to offer. On this episode of Still Loading, have you played Atari today? Hello everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Still Loading podcast. I'm your host, Josh Koval, and today's episode, it's a very special one. This episode is the holiday episode for this year, so Merry Christmas to all those who celebrate. Happy holidays. This is coming out a few days before Christmas, and so there are some Christmas-related conversations that happen in this episode. But for those who are curious about the title of this episode, Atari Party 2025, what is that? Well, Atari Party is an annual gathering of Atari enthusiasts. It's a bunch of cool people who get together and hang out and just share their love of Atari. Now, I've talked about it before. I'm a little bit too young for Atari, though I did play a little bit. My uncle had an Atari, so I played a little bit of his, stuff like that. But I love going to this event because not only do a bunch of cool people go and I get to hang out with friends, but also I get to see stuff and learn about things that I would not have been able to experience firsthand growing up, and that's really cool. So I had a lot of fun going there this year, and I want to give a huge shout out to one of the co-organizers, Pete Fletcher. Pete allowed me to record there. That was very kind of him, and you will hear him very soon. He is one of the people I sat down and chat with. I think I spoke with like 5 or 6 different people over the course of the Atari Party, which is only 4 hours long. It's a fairly short time, and I was able to cram a lot of recording into all of that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to chat with a bunch of cool people. Some of them you have heard on the podcast before, and most of them you have not. And I think that's really cool. A lot of great first-time guests on the show, and I hope to have a lot of them back on. Oh, not a lot of them, all of them on again at some point if they would ever be willing. But before we dive into all those interviews, just a quick disclaimer. This is a live recording. I recorded it with a lot of background noise, and there's people talking and all this other stuff. It was a party, man. I recorded this live at a party, and it was a lot of fun. And I hope you all enjoy it. And because it is recorded live, there may be some audio snafus and mixing issues. I did my best. I only really had one chance to record each interview. But yeah, that's it. That's all the disclaimers I have. Without further ado, please enjoy Atari Party 2025. First up, returning guest Ryan Kern. So my first question for you, Ryan, have you played Atari today?
I have played Atari today.
You have?
I actually have my my Super Pocket Atari edition on me. So I was playing Ninja Golf all morning.
You came prepared.
I did. I came prepared.
So Ryan, we are here at the Atari Party 2025. What have you got into play so far on the floor?
Well, so far on the floor, we just played Juno First over there, which was that really cool-looking parallax scrolling 2600, assuming homebrew game, because I've never heard of it before, but that was super smooth and awesome. I really enjoyed playing that one.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
All right, Ryan. So we're here at Atari Party 25. We got to talk about Atari memories. That's kind of what this is, a celebration of everything Atari. So what is your earliest Atari memory?
My earliest Atari memory was when I got my 2600. So yeah. a entire box of games from my dad's cousin. So I got my secondhand Atari, and first thing out of the box that I played was Pole Position.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. I mean, this was before I had anything else, so I played that all night long. And the sounds, as primitive as they might sound today, I could hear the engine of the car as it was moving, and that was so exciting for me.
I feel like that minimalist aspect of like because of the technological limitations forced people to be more creative. Also forced you to use your imagination more.
Oh, absolutely, and that's something I'm always very much an advocate for. Is I do like the simpler games. I like the low poly stuff. I like the old, this even super old Atari arcade stuff, because it implies a lot that your mind has to fill in, which kind of makes it more exciting to me than a lot of
good. Now, I'm going to be asking everyone this, but since you're the first guest up to the mic, what's your favorite Atari system?
My favorite Atari system to play, I'm going to say, is the 2600, because that was my first. That's where my nostalgia lies at. My favorite Atari system to talk about is the Jaguar.
Because it's just so strange?
It's so strange, and I love how afraid every other company was at the time that this was going to be the system that was going to end the console wars, and Atari was
64 bits!
And ultimately it was a flop, but just the reputation that it carried before it even existed is super impressive to me.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, because you had a podcast for a little while and it's been on hiatus for a bit. But like, one of your first episode was the Atari 2600. So like, what to you keeps you coming back to Atari stuff? Like, what about Atari makes you keep wanting to kind of focus on it or just come back and play more?
I mean, from a historical sense, the entire industry kind of really centers around what Atari was doing back in the 70s. I mean, the entire home console experience was born out of these games in this company. Mm-hmm. But even more than that, they're just fun. It's a simple sit down, turn your brain off, and enjoy it kind of thing. And I think that's missing from a lot of modern games in a way that I feel you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah. I agree with you on that, because it's like sometimes like there's so many games I want to play right now, but because there's such time investments, I'm not even just talking about the length of the game. I mean like the commitment to just understanding the mechanics and like the world and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun, but it does take up a lot of time and effort to just be able to sit down and focus solely on a big experience. And Atari always kind of felt like, I mean, granted it was a technological limitation, but like coming back to it still, like the simplicity is still like a really big seller for me, even though it's not something that I necessarily grew up with. It is something that's just, I don't know, it still makes it fun to play now.
Well, I know this happened right before we jumped on the mic, but that Jungle Hunt game we were just playing back there, and
the boy with abs of steel.
The boy with abs of steel. It was super simple. We only had to play for a few minutes. You kind of get the grasp of it. But if we wanted to play for hours, we could have done that too, see how far we could get. But just the amount of enjoyment that came from, all right, let's try to figure out the mechanics. How does his inertia work? Okay, it's not based on the rope. It's based on his godly core strength. How do you stab the alligator? It was all these kinds of questions. We had a ton of fun on such a simple game.
For context, listeners, the Jungle Hunt game, you're swinging from vine to vine, and that boy does not use any feet. He's not using his feet at all on the vine.
Oops, all abs.
It's oops, all abs, and he is just hurling himself by sheer ab muscles from one rope to the next. And it is it's something to behold, that's for damn sure.
It was fantastic. But again, I think that's the enjoyment right there that keeps bringing you back to the games, is how simple was that? How fun was that? And we got to do that real quick. We got to pick it up, put it down, and, now we have a fun ab-related story to tell about it.
If only I had abs like that Jungle Hunt boy. I'm going to go home and tell my wife about it. She'll be, what? Excuse me? What? What else has there been anything that you've seen on the floor so far that has intrigued you? Like that maybe blew your mind or just kind of like intrigued you?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I keep coming back to, every time we show up here is the video music thing from
the visualizer.
Yeah, it's funny because having grown up in Windows 98, Windows XP eras, having a visualizer built into your media player was pretty standard.
Yeah.
But to think back to 1977, this was such a novelty item that was. I was just talking to the guy over the table, and he let me know it was so niche they didn't know where to put it in the catalog. They couldn't put it with toys.
Wow.
They couldn't put it with anything else. So they ended up putting it with bar furniture in the Sears catalog because it was a place that they felt it could belong. So it's just such a neat little oddity that Atari put out.
This is the only place that you can learn shit like this here, folks, at the Atari Party.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Now I want to move over to kind of closing out a little bit here, because these are all going to be like kind of short little interviews. Atari Christmas memories. Do you have any Atari Christmas memories? Things that you did you get any gifts, Atari related gifts, or like have any specific memories over at relatives' house or anything like that?
Well, I mentioned, it's funny because I can say that the 2600 I originally got was a Christmas gift. It was a hand-me-down, but it was a Christmas gift that I got. So taking that to my room, figuring out how to connect it, setting my TV to channel 3, playing it there, all the stuff I had to learn at like 7 years old. And then, funny enough, I got an Atari 2600 Plus just like 2 Christmases ago, so I got to do it all over again with the excitement of a new Atari thing. Yeah. So, and it felt just like being a kid again, getting to play that, getting to take my old cartridges, put it on, but now I have, a connection to a modern TV. So, yeah, I mean, Atari's part of Christmas.
Atari Christmas, baby. So we're going to wrap this up, y'all, for Ryan here. Ryan, can you be found online? And if so, where can the good people find you?
I cannot be found online. I have left all social media. The best place to find me would be either in your Discord over on Still Loading, or I do still have paaperclips with 2 A's at gmail.com if anyone wants to send me an email.
All right. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of Atari Party, and I'll be definitely having you on the podcast again soon.
All right. Thank you.
Joining me now, the founder of Atari Party here, the person who has organized, the organizer and the person who heads it all up, Pete Fletcher's here. Pete, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks, Josh. I appreciate it.
Thank you first of all, for allowing me to record here. I very much appreciate it. Thought this would be a fun topic or for a podcast episode, so thank you for letting me record here. And the first question I have to start it off is, have you played Atari today?
I have played Atari today several
times.
Go
figure.
Yeah.
But I want to actually kick off with how you first started this. Like, what was the inspiration for starting Atari Party? Like, because I saw it. Mutual of ours, Kevin Bunch from Atari Archive, he posted on Blue Sky like 2 years ago that he came up to Quakertown to do Atari Party. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know that place. So he told me about it. I saw it posted last year, came last year, enjoyed it the last 2. So what made you want to start this?
So technically, I'm not the founder of Atari Party. There was a gentleman in Davis, California named Bill Kendrick, who 2014 or something, had a huge event out in California where lots of former Atari employees came. He rented out a library in Davis, and that went on for several years. Bill has subsequently moved to the UK, so he is no longer having events here. But my friend Bill Lang and I, we talked about having an East Coast version of the party. And so for years we had the party in New Jersey in Bill's basement. Bill, his mother, moved into a smaller house, and Bill moved next door to her to help take care of her, and his basement was no longer available, so we looked for a new venue, and I was like, hey, there's this crazy little train station that rents out events here in my town, and let's try that.
All right, and Atari Party, well, not was born, but is born in this incarnation of it.
Correct.
I gotcha. So what now that you've been throwing this for, I guess, is this a third year? Third year.
Yeah.
What's something that you've enjoyed about, A, throwing it, and B, is there anything new that you've discovered? Like, are there surprises that people bring here that you're like, oh, I didn't know either, I wasn't expecting to find that or know that existed or anything like that?
I think what I enjoy about it is Atari, most people know from being the VCS or 2600, but it ranged from that to early Pong systems all the way through home computers, and the people that come each have a special passion for each one of those little niches.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what I enjoy most, because somebody might love the old Pong era, and somebody might like the 2600 era, and other people might love the Atari line of computers. And I find that really fascinating, that people have their little thing that brought them joy pretty much, as kids or teenagers, and it stuck with them. And I really enjoy that. And I really enjoy that some young people come because their parents told them about it, and then they just like, I got to see what the things I play now, where that all came from.
Yeah. Has there been any stuff that people have brought that have surprised you that they that was brought here, like any specific obscure computers or peripherals or something, anything like that?
So one year we had a Pong arcade machine that was kind of sold or donated to a friend of ours, and it was originally from a guy named David All, and David All was the founder of Creative Computing magazine, and Atari apparently owed him some money, and they were like, we don't have the money to pay you, and they gave him his Pong machine, and over years the people here restored that, and then were able to bring an actual functioning Pong machine.
Wow.
That was David All's that he had given to him from Atari as payment.
That's so cool.
So yeah, that was pretty wild.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. I guess to transition to some of your more personal memories, what's some of your earliest Atari memories? When did you first start playing Atari systems or games? Just what are some of the earliest memories you have of Atari?
So my earliest memories are going to arcades, which prior to that were called fun centers a lot of times. My brother and I briefly lived in Florida, and we used to go to this place called the Treasure Island Fun Center. And we would play Atari Fire Truck.
Okay.
And Fire Truck is a two-player game where somebody drives and then somebody rides the back end of the fire truck.
Okay.
And so you go through town, and we used to enjoy that quite a bit. And then I remember at Christmas 1980, we got an Atari VCS, or 2600 as people know it today.
Yeah.
And that sort of just sparked my passion for
your
the
love
brand.
for it. How did you start kind of getting, I guess, diving further down this rabbit hole? What kind of was that spark to continue to look into the history of Atari and older computers and stuff like that, vintage computers?
I think that I just really enjoyed the time that I spent playing these silly games.
Yeah.
And then when I got a home computer, Atari was the brand in my mind, so that's what I bought. And I would do my homework, and I would see other kids either having to use a typewriter or handwrite something, and I would use Atari Writer on my Atari 400. And it was just, I think that just sparked an interest that just remained with me as time went on.
That's awesome. And you already mentioned a little bit, but is there any, you already touched on it a bit with Atari Christmas memories. Do you have any other specific ones? Or?
So I did. So in 1983, Richard Gary at Origin Systems released Ultima 3.
Okay.
And it was an RPG, and my brother and I, we'd read about it in magazines, we're like, this is amazing. But at the time, our Atari home computer only had a cassette player, and you needed a disk drive. And so my brother and I kind of asked for it for Christmas, but my parents didn't have a ton of money, so we weren't sure, and it was very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother and I bought the game before we even had the disk drive. So we were very excited that Christmas morning because we gambled and we won. So we got the disk drive so we could play our game. So because we weren't sure.
Yeah.
So,
I know. I kind of could relate to that to some extent. I remember getting games that before I had the system as well. I'm like, I know I'm going to get this at some point. I would literally just stare at it until I'm sure did you and your brother just stare at the box and read the manual before you got the system?
So yeah, we would go, like I said, we saw advertisements in magazines, and it just looked amazing. and then we would go and see the box in the store, and it had this kind of devilish-looking character on the cover, and we're like, that looks amazing. So yeah, that kind of did that for me.
Did you end up playing any other Ultima games after that, like Ultima 4 and whatnot?
I did 4 and 5, and I played a bit of 6. I never really continued on past that, but 3 was we played so much of.
Yeah.
So,
Ultima is a series that I've been meaning to, because I haven't tried any of them.
Gotcha.
But I want to because I'm a big Final Fantasy fan, and you wouldn't have Ultima to Dragon Quest to Final Fantasy, that whole lineage and whatnot. So just keep going backwards. I need to try out Ultima at some point in time. But okay, so another question about your personal Atari preferences. What is your personal favorite Atari system or computer? Like, is there a game console or a computer that you just always find yourself breaking out and tinkering with or playing with?
So, aesthetically, the Atari 400 is it's so 1970s in a good way. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like a wedge. It's an amazing piece. It has a horrible keyboard, but it was the first computer that I owned.
Okay.
And I bought it primarily with my own paper route money.
Oh, wow.
And so I still have that machine, and it means the world to me because of that. I bought it at Christmas, right after Christmas 1981. We had a local Sears surplus store, and they had them on sale after Christmas, and that's emotionally that's my favorite one.
But how long did it take to save up for it with paper route money?
So a long time, but they really were discounted after Christmas. So the surplus stores were weird. So in Philadelphia was their East Coast mail order warehouse. And then in the Philadelphia region, they had like 4 or 5 of these surplus stores. And so when they over-purchased things, they would unload them at a good price at these surplus stores. So I think the machines were probably $400-ish, but I remember I paid $189 the week after Christmas. So
wow.
So that
$189, that's not bad considering. I mean, granted, adjust that for inflation, that's a lot of money still.
Right. I mean, it only had 16K of RAM, and it has the worst keyboard on the planet, but I just love this machine. So it was given the Coke-proof keyboard, they call it, because it's like a Mylar keyboard.
Yeah.
You'll have to look at pictures of it, but that's my kind of like emotional favorite. And then on the other end of the spectrum, the very last machine Atari made was called an Atari Falcon 030. 1992, it was released in Germany, in 93, and pretty much everywhere else. I bought that at a music store in Philadelphia. For people who don't know, Atari at the end of the run was very popular with musicians, but the machine was like, I knew it was the end of the line. Atari wasn't doing well at that point, but it's such a weird machine. They only made like 30,000 of them, and I have one of those, and that's
really cool.
One of my favorite things.
Is the upkeep on your Atari 400 hard? Like, I feel like on a vintage computer, like I imagine the upkeep must be, other than just making sure you get a lot of compressed air to keep the circuits clear.
Shockingly, I've had very good luck with Atari machines. I have other computer systems from different manufacturers that don't seem to last. The Ataris just seem to keep working. I don't really...
That's awesome, though. That's cool. All right, well, I don't really have any other questions for you. I appreciate you setting aside some time. I know you're busy hosting, being a host, so thank you once again for organizing this. I guess the last thing here is, if you are to be found online, where can the good people find you online, and is there anything you'd like to promote?
I'm not really promoting anything, but I am on Blue Sky and Mastodon. Rectapete is my RECTAPETE is on Blue Sky and Mastodon. So yeah, come follow me or come look at pictures of Atari Party.
All right. Well, thank you once again for joining me, Pete. Thank you for setting aside this time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Atari Party.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Joining us now from the Atari Spot, Rob. Rob from the Atari Spot joining me here. So, Rob, my first question, of course, as I'm asking everyone, have you played Atari today?
I have not only played Atari today, I play Atari, maybe not most days, but so people probably know me more as a collector than anything else, but what that does mean is that, okay, I get something new, or I'm rearranging something in my collection. I'm playing Atari a lot.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's 2600. That's what I have set up at home right now. But here at Atari Party, anything goes, and seeing everybody bring different systems, I look forward to this every year.
What have you seen on the floor so far that's exciting? Like, is there anything new that surprised you this year on the floor?
So, okay, let's see. Not new this year. He's brought it before, but Paul brings a Atari video music. I'll say most years.
The visualizer, right? That's the second time it's been brought up.
I mean, it's striking. It's unique. It is hard to come by these days, especially in good working condition like his is. But yeah, it is a relic. You can see it used in some old music videos of yore, 70s, 80s music videos. But it speaks to a different era, and there's just nothing else really like it.
That's awesome. When I came to the Atari Party last year for the first time, it blew my mind. I couldn't believe there was a visualizer for it. And Ryan, who was on earlier, was saying how apparently they didn't know where to put it in the catalog, like when it was being marketed back when it was contemporary.
Yeah, I mean it's like I say, it's a unique product. It doesn't really fit in with the rest of their catalog per se, but When you have a good product, you make room for it on your proverbial shelves, and I don't know that they did super well with it, but it made a mark, and I'll say that much.
So I know you have to travel a good distance to get up here. I won't say specifically where. I'll keep your privacy private there. But what makes you come all? It's a good few hours. Like it's a good long drive. So what makes you drive all the way up here to Atari Party?
So one of the good things about this hobby is the people you meet. You see the same people. You get to catch up with them. Beyond that, I did used to live here in Pennsylvania. I was a Philly guy for most of my life. But yeah, having something like this to look forward to, it's not an overwhelming event. It's
really chill.
I would say we from the first one we have grown a bit. We used to hold these in the basement, and we're in a nice little public train station here, and it's really it's been a very good space for us. I don't know how much longer if this is going to continue here, but for the years that we've been here, it's really been great. Like I say, it's seeing your friends, it's meeting new people. You can also show off some things that people may not have seen before.
Yeah, there's like original games that are shown here periodically.
For example, you may have heard, you may have even talked about already. We have a programmer here who made a game based on a road in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's quite unusual, quite niche, but that often makes for a good game. So this was my first time seeing it. I played it. It was pretty fun. So I'm gonna go check this out and see what I can do to maybe get myself a copy.
That's really cool. Last year too, there was like a new game for like an Atari computer system. I forgot what it was. I think I took a picture of it, but it's somewhere on my phone. But yeah, it's cool seeing that like there are still games being made for Atari systems even all these years later. Like I know the homebrew market is still going strong, but like generally people, with the NES's popularity and stuff like that, a lot less focus is on Atari. So it's cool still seeing new stuff coming out for these systems.
Yeah, it's like as you say, there's always new things coming out. There's also still old things being found. I just handed Pete Fletcher a. Don't ask me where I found it, but it's an old program on a cartridge for the Atari Portfolio. That is the handheld machine that you may or may not remember from
I never even
Terminator.
Heard of that. It's called the Atari Portfolio.
The Portfolio, yes. It's a little pocket computer. So I found as far as I know, unpreserved program for it. It seems to have been used for programming early hotel smart cards for like entry. So, of course, it is of no use in the year 2025.
What are you talking about?
If I see something bizarre like this with a 1994 date on it, and I look it up and I can't find anything really on the internet about it, all right, this cost me $10. Let me give it a try. So I just handed that off to him. He's going to get it dumped, and as I say, does it amount to anything? No, but is it enjoyable? Yes. So
that's really cool.
That's why I'm here. Is just show me the bizarre, show me the thing that I haven't seen before.
That's why I like going. I like shows like this. I know it's a small little thing, but it's a small show, but it's still really cool to see that type of stuff. There's a convention nearby here called RetroCon that happens once a year, and it's the same thing, but it's all like toys and stuff like that. You always see like random. I like going just to see the obscure and the weird, and this is kind of like that, but game focused. Yeah. So I love seeing that type of stuff.
Yeah, living where I live, the one sort of larger convention that I've done is MagFest, which I did. I like that very much. I might try and do Midwest Gaming Classic this year. I've never been. Shockingly, I've never done Portland. I'd like to get out there at some point, hopefully. But yeah, there's something to be said for the smaller, just sort of grassroots kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, MagFest grew out of a single kind of hotel room, I think, or something to that effect. And I mean, that's not to say that Atari Party is going to be MagFest in 10 years. But, these things come together when people have, strong shared interests, and, it's just a great opportunity to talk about that. My wife can only listen to so much talk about Atari 2600.
Yeah. Dude, I feel you.
So,
I feel you.
Just having a chance to meet up with folks, who come in from all over. We have, my friend here is from Alabama. I mean, I think he's, a little bit crazy to come this far, but, this is not the first time he's come, and he seems to have a good time, so.
I mean, why not, right?
Absolutely.
Now, moving on to more specific or more personal elements of this, or
Sure.
more personal memories, what's your earliest Atari memory?
So I was born in 1980, so I was very young when the 2600 was first coming out. I was not born when the 2600 was first coming out. But what it means is that, when I was introduced to Atari, it was already sort of in its the downward side of the slope, I guess I'll say. But what I remember is, I guess, I want to say I was maybe 4 years old, and I got a 5200 from Santa for Christmas. I'm told in later years that Santa had to go back and get a different version because, I had to have the version that had Pac-Man.
Yeah.
I was a Pac-Man kid. I still am a Pac-Man kid. So yes, the earliest memories are, receiving that 5200, but also, watching and now still remembering my parents and also my grandfather. My grandfather is a World War II veteran war hero, probably was, 65 years old, but playing, Pac-Man or Super Breakout with me, on a Christmas morning. And, so yes, a lot of interest builds off of nostalgia. Nostalgia has become kind of a dirty word in some ways. I think as long as you can temper that with, healthy views of, okay, what's the same, what's changed, what, as long as you don't let it poison your outlook.
Exactly.
You can have fun with it, So here I am decades later having fun with it.
Well, I think like a healthy manifestation of nostalgia, or a healthy evolution of nostalgia is kind of like what you do with Atari Spot, where it's like looking into the historical aspects of it. It's like you're allowing, the nostalgia was the starting point.
Exactly.
But then like the interest in like learning new things and like diving, and even just like discussing and talking about it is a lot of fun.
Especially with the 2600. I mean, probably for all the Atari platforms, I'm most familiar with the 2600. There are still things to find. There are still things to learn. There are still, especially on the international scene, which I try to look at a lot. Just learning about things that, people tend to get very focused on, okay, did this come out in the United States? And like, okay, I get it, but for me, there's a wider world, and I love just finding strange things from all corners of it.
Yeah, I love it. Well, we're going to wrap this one up, Rob. Thank you so much for hopping on the mic here and setting aside some time during Atari Party 2025. If you are to be found online, where can the good people find you online?
Tough to find me online right now. That's just a right now kind of thing. Email is my best way. You can just reach out to atarispot@gmail.com. There is a website in the works. Nobody really knows about that yet, but it is
coming.
It's on the horizon. I have used that phrase for maybe too long now, but it is coming. So coming soon to remember websites?
Hey, I think they're coming back because people are tired of all the other they're not owned by Google and fucking Meta and all this other.
This is what that's
go
what
back
I like
to
to hear.
The old days.
Bring it back. So look for that soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again, Rob, and enjoy the rest of Atari Party.
Thanks. Great talking with you.
Up now, Kevin Bunch from Atari Archive, from Retronauts, among many other projects. So Kevin's joining me here at Atari Party 2025. Kevin, thank you for stopping in. Have you played Atari today?
I have, actually. I was just playing Aardvark over on the 2600.
There you go. And you were playing a light gun for a while, or a light gun Atari thing. What was that called again? Which game was that again?
That was a crossbow for the XE game system that someone had brought along.
Okay. Yeah, man, thank you for hopping on the mic. Thank you for setting aside some time for this. I asked this to Rob as well. I don't know which order your interviews are going to be, depending on how I cut this up. But you have a pretty good distance to get here to Atari Party. So what compels you to travel so far for a few hours to hang out with fellow Atari enthusiasts? Like, what brings you all the way up here? What's special about Atari Party for you?
Well, part of it was that Rob doesn't live too far from where I am, and since he was coming, I was like, well, I'll hitch a lift with you if you like, and that was fine. That saved me a lot of issues. But broadly, I remember when I was younger, I could hear people talking about like Atari-related events on the East Coast, like some of the older Atari parties, like some of the NAVA meets that Digital Press used to put together.
Okay,
and I was always like very interested in checking those out, but at the time I lived in Michigan, so that was a bit of a hike. Also, I had no money. But now I have the opportunity to come to these things, and it's a lot of fun. I like bumming around with other people who are also giant Atari nerds like I am, and trying out some games that I might not have messed around with before.
Have you been able to discover any games that you never played before, like through whether it's this year or previous years?
I remember a couple of years ago, the first one I came to, Rob actually brought his Tarzan prototype for the 2600.
Whoa, okay.
So I got to try that out for like the first time along with everybody else. That was a lot of fun. I was just trying out the 7800 homebrew Venture, the arcade game, which I forgot existed and had never played. I was messing around with the new Pac-Man port for the 7800, and some of the computer stuff. Like, I didn't really play a lot of the Atari ST.
Yeah.
But there's a whole row of ST machines over here, and I got to try out. It's like a Wonder Boy and Monsterland clone.
Wait, is there
cool.
Wonder Boy and Monsterland on there?
Yeah, it's this. Well, it was on the right. I think they switched it out for something else now, but like someone's working on that, and they had a pre-release like build of it. There's like this Monkey Business clone of Donkey Kong that's like super weird.
Okay.
But yeah, there's
That's
usually
cool.
a few things there.
Has it because you have here's a unasked for plug of your book, Atari Archive Volume 1 from Press Run Books. It's Press Run, right? That's the name of it. Yeah, I was trying to double check. Has any of the stuff here helped with the research for that, or was it already pretty much done by the time you got your book all finalized?
So I feel like by the time I came to the first one of these, the book was done, and I actually brought copies of it with me, and I think I actually sold a couple while I was here. But I am working on a second volume. It's like 2/3 of the way done at this point.
Nice.
So like, I'm always interested in like, is there anything here that like I can bring back and use that to help inform what I'm working on? And there's a lot of expertise here. I was just chatting a little while ago, the group of people about the Atari 400 computer, which
Okay.
is, one of the topics that comes up in the next volume of the book because it came out in that window. So I feel like that's been pretty helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because, I've said this before. I said it to Pete, and I've said it to you off mic as well. Atari is something that I'm unfortunately too young for. I was born in '89, so I missed all of this. And so being able to come to this is I love video game and video game history. So this is a way for me just to get as close to that experience as possible of when it was contemporary. So I want to move on then to some of your personal Atari memories and whatnot. Yeah. What's your earliest Atari memory?
So my earliest ones, I was 3 or 4, I think 4. And we had a 2600 that my parents had gotten around 82. Excuse me. And they bought a ton of games when the crash happened because everything was super cheap. So I remember playing a lot of those. I remember playing Space Invaders. Ms. Pac-Man was one I really liked because you could set it to one ghost, and that was very easy for a 4-year-old to figure out. And I played the Sesame Street games a lot.
I didn't even know there were Sesame Street Atari games.
Yeah, there's 4 of them, and they use a keypad controller. With overlays and everything. And I was obsessed with those. And now, I'm a parent, and my 4-year-old is obsessed with at least one of them. So
you're doing it right. It's funny. I did the same thing. My daughter's 4, and I got her to play the living books, edutainment, point and click adventure type of thing. She also really likes the Muppet Treasure Island point and click adventure game, which I found a totally legal copy of that you can just download. But that's awesome. So
my son also likes those types of games because my wife grew up on point and click PC games. So she's been showing him Putt-Putt and
yes,
Muppet Treasure Island is one of her favorites. So I'm sure that'll come along too. Yeah.
If you want to know a way, I'll tell you off mic. So
I was going to say she already found a totally legal copy.
A totally legal copy. Okay, good. Glad she was able to find it.
It's not a problem for her.
That game rules, man. So, do you have any Atari Christmas memories? This episode is going to be coming out around Christmas time, so I figured I'd ask everyone I chat with, do you have any Christmas memories that involve Atari?
Yeah, actually. I remember, so we had a 7800 when I was a kid, right? We got an NES not too long after that because, there wasn't jack squat coming out for the 7800, but I still asked for 7800 games for Christmas, and I remember one year very distinctly getting Rampage and the Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers 7800 versions, and I played the crap out of those. Even though I know that there's better versions of them, those are still the ones that are for me the canonical versions, the ones I grew up with. So I remember being real excited to crack those open and run down to the basement to play the 7800 because that's where we had it hooked up at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the NES got to be in the living room, and the 7800 got to use the weird old TV in the basement.
So wait, did you even have a preference for Atari even back when you had the NES as well?
I feel like I had a real appreciation for it. I played the crap out of the NES, of course. It was one of my favorite machines. But I recognized there's a lot of games on the Atari systems that I also really liked, and they weren't on the NES. So there's good stuff here. And I remember my mom having to try and explain the concept of the Atari systems are obsolete, so they don't make new stuff for them anymore. And I'm but there's still a lot of things that I haven't played on these, right? So I can still check out those as I find them. She's yeah, you can do that. Just don't expect new things. And time has made fools of her, I guess.
I mean, also at the same time, as a kid, you don't know the concept of new game. If you haven't played the game, it's new to you, right? It's not. Generally kids aren't really so hung up on dates of it's 1995. Am I still getting a new Atari 2600 game?
Yeah. Again, my son likes Atari Alpha Beam with Ernie. He likes Outrun. He likes City Connection of all games.
City Connection, okay.
Yep, City Connection. But he also likes the new Mario Kart and Donkey Kong games. So he has no real concept of this game is old and therefore it's going to be dated and weird and crummy. But
I wonder,
it's just a game.
As a fellow parent, I wonder if our kids are going to grow up thinking these are just the game's graphics. They don't consider these graphics old or these graphics new or good or bad. It's just like, this is what this game looks like. This is what this game looks like. Because my daughter is the same way. She'll play the original Mario, but then she'll play Mario Odyssey, and then she's really into Astrobot right now for the PS5, which has been fun to see. Like, she's good at it too. It's really cool to see. So I got it. My next question for you though is, I've been asking everyone as well, what's your favorite Atari system? It could be computer or otherwise, but which game console or system or computer or whatnot is your favorite Atari one?
I still have to give it to the 7800 because that's what I grew up with primarily. Because I broke our 2600 from playing it too much, and that's what my parents replaced it with.
That's how you do it.
I have a very soft spot. I know the library is very small. I know it's kind of mediocre, but I still really like that machine. That's still like my main game console when I'm playing like Atari games. Even 2600 stuff. Like if I'm sitting down on the couch, I'll bust open the 7800 and get out some controllers and use that.
I always find also the systems that are like, I shouldn't say like worse, quote unquote. That's a relative term, but like are always the ones that I feel like are a little bit more interesting. Like whether it's a 7800, whether our Jeremy Parrish, your fellow retronaut, with the Virtual Boy, did that whole book on Virtual Boy. For myself, I don't have a book about it, but like the Sega Pico is something I'm like obsessed with. I didn't grow up with it, but like I'm just obsessed with the idea of this thing.
It's a very interesting idea.
Right? It's cool. And that's why when you're saying the 7800, even though the library is smaller and it might not have the best library, but it resonates more with you, I can understand that because it may be a system that's not like on the tip of everyone's tongue, but it's like something you just enjoy. You just enjoy for one reason or another.
It doesn't hurt that people are finally like doing really interesting stuff with it over the past like decade or so.
Because if I remember correctly, the 7800 was the console they shelved for a while, right?
Yeah,
it was like done, and then the market crashed. They're like, all right, we'll hold off.
There was a legal dispute because the Trammell family bought out Atari's consumer division, and they're like, well, we're still going to release the 7800, right? And because it was developed by GCC, General Computing Corporation, for Warner, there was this whole to-do over, who pays GCC for this stuff?
Okay.
Because until you pay them, they're not going to let us release this. So finally they shelled out in like 85, and that's when they got everything rolling to like. And
by then it was a little bit behind the curveball.
I don't know that it would have done much better coming out in 84, but it certainly would have seemed more impressive than it was.
Yeah.
And in the interim, they had to lay off a lot of their internal game development team, so I think that hit them when they are actually getting new stuff out.
I gotcha. All right, well, we're going to wrap this up, Kev. Thank you so much for hopping on, Mike. Yeah. If you're to be found online, where can the good people find you online? Is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, so I have a Blue Sky account at atariarchive.org, which is also my website. Atari Archive is also my YouTube channel. And it's also the name of my book, which, as you mentioned, you can find that through Limited Run Games. It used to be on Amazon. I think they're sold out there now, but it's still available on Limited Run. And beyond that, I'm usually mucking about.
All right. I'll make sure to include a link to all that in the show notes. Once again, Kev, thank you for joining me, and enjoy the rest of Atari Party.
Thank you.
Okay, up now, Nate Lockhart of Lockhart Electronics and Memory Machine Podcast is joining me here. So, Nate, of course, as I've been asking everyone, have you played Atari today?
I have played Atari today. I've only been here for like 20 minutes, and I played Atari today. So, it's happened.
A lot of Atari is being played.
Heck yeah, all over the place over here.
So thank you for setting aside some time for this, man. I've been looking forward to it. I met you and Rob last year at Atari Party, and I was looking forward to getting to see you both again. So thank you for hopping on Mike for this and getting you on the podcast in earnest.
Grateful to do it.
So Atari Party, what have you seen on the floor? What are some things that have stuck out to you so far this year?
Well, I see these little joysticks here right next to me. They're they're very simple plastic enclosures, but they use the good arcade parts, and they just look great. They look solid. I've been designing a lot of my own controllers lately.
I saw you post on Blue Sky recently. You made a little controller thing.
I did. That's something I'm always trying to push forward, especially because I see a lot of younger people get the 2600 and things like that. Because for people with not a lot of money, Atari is like some of the few retro things that kids can still afford.
Yeah.
So, but I know for them, a lot of them grew up with completely different controllers that are far more ergonomic, I'm sure I'll get a lot of flack for this, much better engineered than what existed back then.
I mean, I don't think that would be that controversial, considering we've had like 40 plus years of like designs and stuff like that, just understanding better, how a hand forms. Like, I don't know, my hand's not box shaped.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Correct. No one's is. And so, like, I always struggled with, like, the CX40 joystick, even then. But, yeah, I see that. I see cool homebrews all over the place. Like, we got Scramble right next to us there. Aardvark was being played over there on the Atari. Stacks of homebrews everywhere. I'm always intrigued by the Atari ST stuff because there's just not a lot of opportunities to come across that, even in some retro conventions or whatever. Like when I go to the Midwest Gaming Classic, for instance, up in Milwaukee, there's not a string of tables with Atari STs. You probably will get to see one, if you see one, and it's probably just playing the same thing it always is. So yeah, I find that stuff intriguing, and who knows what else I'll come across as I
I think I hear a drum machine in the background there, too.
Sure. It might be going with the Atari video music. Who knows?
I'm curious. So I asked Rob and Kevin this. Like both of them, you come from you travel to get here. It's a good couple hours.
Occasionally, yeah.
So what makes you want to travel so far to come to Atari Party? Like what about Atari Party is worth the trip?
Well, it's the people. Like, I mean, all this stuff is really neat. It's always fun to spend time, getting to interact with the actual artifacts, instead of...
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of this stuff too, but to be able to enjoy them with other people is what makes it really special. To be able to sit and play a Scramble homebrew for the Atari 8-bits and be able to talk with the person next to you about how cool it is and what makes it, these are things we get to talk about online a lot, like, say, Discord, message boards like Atari Age. But being able to say these things out loud, to say these words out loud, be able to talk to someone about, like, a floppy disk or, paddle controllers, spinners, whatever, that's special. And that's not something I get to do all the time.
Man, you're making me think about that. So I've thought about, why do I podcast? Not in like this weird, like, why am I doing this? I like podcasting, but like, why is it so enjoyable? And I think you've given me an answer inadvertently.
Oh, yeah?
Because you just said you enjoy coming here because it's one thing to be able to communicate online, whether through message boards or Discord or whatnot, but it's a lot more fun to have those conversations in person. And I almost wonder if podcasts, this is getting a little philosophical, I apologize for getting a little heavy.
Go for it.
But I wonder if podcasts are like mini conventions, like intimate mini conventions with just 1, 2, 3 other people. So that way, having conversations that would be almost strange to happen in like a bar or something like that, or like out on the street. Like you're not going to stop and talk to someone for an hour while you're standing on the sidewalk or something like that about like an Atari ST or like the Atari 2600. But at the Atari Party or a podcast, it's not strange. This is the avenue. This is the place to do it.
It's expected.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what birthed my own podcast experience, was because I needed an outlet to talk about these things, and my wife could only provide so much of that. And it's not because like she was just like, I think this stuff is stupid. It's just like, she's only one person. Like I can't dump all that on her.
Well, that's like, I can relate to that.
She's very supportive, but like I remember her telling me, she said, Nate, I know what year the Vectrex came out, but I don't remember what I had for breakfast. And like, so like, and that was like a big, just to be able to really get into those topics that I might not otherwise get to do. And with my own podcast, I jump around a lot on topics. And part of it is because I know how it feels to really be passionate about something, but not really have anybody to bounce it off of.
Yep.
And so, like, whenever I talk to anybody, they say, like, well, I don't really know much about video games or computers. And I said, it doesn't matter. What do you want to get off your chest? What are you passionate about that you need to talk about? And you're lacking the opportunity. Let me be the opportunity so you can do that.
I like that. I like that.
Which is why I had, like, Alex Smith, who wrote They Create Worlds, that book.
Okay.
I had him on a couple years ago to talk about the origins of baseball, because he's a huge baseball fan, and he just doesn't get the opportunity to do that very often.
Yeah, you can't have those types of conversations easily, at least.
No, it's hard. Hard to do that.
Speaking of these types of conversations, something I wouldn't normally ask someone out on the street. What's your earliest Atari memory? What's the early? I know that's a hard right turn from our topic there, but like moving on, what's one of your earliest Atari memories?
My earliest Atari memories. That's a little hard. I was born in 1987.
Okay.
And so by the time I was a kid, Atari had really
Went
faded,
down, yeah.
and nobody knew anything about it, or people knew about it, but like it was not in the zeitgeist at all.
Yeah.
At all. It was gone. And I remember going over to a friend's house. I believe I was 5 or 6 years old, going to a friend's house, and they had an Atari under one of their older TVs, and it wasn't plugged in, it wasn't turned on, but I was so intrigued, because like, this label says Donkey Kong, but this is not a Nintendo. What is this? Like, what's going on here? And then I picked up another one, and it's Pac-Man, but it doesn't look like Pac-Man, like, at least not that I knew of. Like, he didn't look like the Namco-approved Pac-Man figure. He looked different, and I was like, what is this? What? And I remember that like confounding me for the longest time, and I don't think it was until my uncle Steve Chichester, he was a video game collector a little bit, like back in the day, and he had an Atari, and he pulled it out once. He went to his apartment, and he pulled out from his closet. I think I must have been 8 years old or 9 years old, and he had all the manuals, and he had like the boxes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he had a bunch of these games, and he had the remote controllers.
Okay.
That are sort of like, have like little antennas on them. And and from that point on, like, I just had to know more. I had to know everything. And it was hard back then because, there were online retailers in the mid-'90s,
Yeah.
And even if there were, my parents did not trust to put a credit card on
You
there.
can't put a credit card on a website.
No, absolutely not.
What, are you crazy?
Right. So there was nothing for me to do.
Yeah.
I was just stuck. And I remember going to the library because I wanted to read about them, but there were no books at the time, and certainly my library didn't have them. I did get one book from Interlibrary Loan. It was called Zap, The Rise and Fall of Atari, I think. It was not a very good book in retrospect. It's very historically inaccurate, not well regarded, but it's all I had. I mean, I could go deeper. I could talk about like getting a very early DOS emulator for the 2600 and playing Atari games at 40% speed because it's the fastest my computer could do it.
Oh, wow.
But I did it, and
Okay.
I did it, and I played it all the time because it's all I had to experience those games.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Now, I'm assuming, because you're only a little... I was born in 89, so we're not that much.
That's my
so
brother.
one of the other questions I have, because this episode's coming out around Christmas, is if you have any Atari Christmas memories. I don't know if you would have, because it's not like you would have opened an Atari for Christmas, but if you do have any, though, feel free. Do you have any Atari Christmas memories? Okay.
I do.
Okay.
This, so it was year 2000. I ordered my first Atari from Best Electronics.
Okay.
Which, is quite a behemoth of a retailer for old Atari parts. And if you look at the website now for Best Electronics, it still looks like it was made in like 1996. Like it's all just like a big wall of text and HTML links, hyperlinks. But I was able to get one through them, And slowly, like over the next couple of years, online retailing had become more commonplace. So my parents were more okay with putting things online.
Now you can put your credit card into a
Correct.
website.
So when I must have been 14, my parents ordered for me for Christmas Atari homebrews.
Whoa.
So in 2001.
Okay.
But Atari Age was not yet making them. It was a company called Hoser Video Games.
Okay.
And they had like a weird little crazy face logo. And the quality of reproduction wasn't Atari Age quality.
Okay.
But I still have them. I still have the tote bag that came with it. And I got QB and Thrust.
Okay.
Those were the two games I got.
That is still so cool, though.
Yeah.
So they got you homebrew games for Christmas. That's awesome. Like,
yeah.
So even the year 2000,
Yeah.
like 20 plus years after the Atari 2600 was out, let
Yeah.
alone you're still getting new games in the mail.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
That's really
it was.
cool.
My parents were confused. They were just like, "Why do you want this? Like, why don't
You don't
want,
understand me, Mom.
Yeah. Don't you want like a new Game Boy game or something?" Which I did, but like also I wanted that. Back in those days, retro gaming was not cool. It was not a cool thing.
Big difference. Excuse me. Now.
Yeah,
Now
there's
it's
a big
like
difference now.
Yeah.
But back then, it was not cool at all. It was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, get a PlayStation. What's wrong with you? That's my Atari
awesome.
Christmas memory.
I love that.
Yeah.
Two more questions for
Sure.
you before we wrap this up.
Certainly.
One, what's your favorite Atari console? It could be a computer as well. You could do computer or home console. But which is your favorite Atari system?
My favorite one is not one I necessarily play all the time because it's very limited, but it's the Atari Video Pinball standalone because I am a big fan of mid-century modern, and that thing is like wood grain and brown, and it's perfect. It's perfect. I love that console. I love the way it looks. I love the colors of the games that it puts out. It's got these big, blocky numbers that like jump right out at you. I think it's great. It's not the one I play the most, but
Yeah. That's awesome.
for a regular console, I'd say 7800. I love
Still,
that
though,
thing.
I'll take the Atari pinball,
Yeah.
the digital pinball. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And my last question for you, because we're going to wrap this up now. So, Nate, thank you for joining me. But if you are to be found online, where can the good people find you online? And is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah. You can find me on Blue Sky. I think it's at nathaniel.lockhart.
I can confirm that for you while
I
you're
would
thinking.
appreciate that.
It is just Nathaniel Lockhart at Blue Sky, bsky.social.
There you go. So I'm on there. That's pretty much the only real social media I update much these days. I do also have an Instagram, nathaniel.lockhart. That's all it is. And I update that infrequently. I have the website for my podcast, which is memorymachinepod.com. There's my podcast, The Memory Machine. It hasn't been updated much because I've just started my own small business. And I also have 2 young children. So those
Children
two things
take
combined
up a lot of time. And as to
editing
owning
a
business.
podcast, as you well know, is time intensive.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a hard task. It just takes a long time.
Uh-huh.
And I don't have a lot of it these days. But my business is, yes, Lockhart Electronics. The website is forthcoming.
Right.
It will be lockhartelectronics.com.
This will be out in like a couple days before Christmas this year. Will the website be out then?
It'll at least point to something.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the domain, so it'll at least point to something, maybe like a Facebook page or something as something to tide over. Where I do vintage electronic repairs of all types and modifications, design for 3D printing, circuit design. Just as an example of something I was hired to do recently, Steve Lynn
Okay.
Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, he's. I know he works for not works, but he's part of the Video Game History Foundation.
Yeah, he's a board member.
He's a core member. Yeah. So I've heard him on podcasts, but yeah.
He hired me because he had an arcade board of Street Fighter, the movie, the game, and he wanted to play it in a Street Fighter 2, which has like a different harness pinout. And he was like, "Can you make me a go-between board?" And I know KiCad, so I punched it in and I made a adapter board, and so there you go.
All right.
So I can do that. I make controllers. I repair everything from vintage console stereos to tablets.
All right.
I've done it all.
So
CRTs, I fix those too.
Ooh, that'll be good to know, because I know, especially for people, I have a lot of retro gamers listening to this podcast, so they could probably use that service.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to include links to your socials, your podcast, and the website, assuming it's up by then, in the show notes. But yeah, thank you so much again for joining me, Nate, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Atari Party.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And joining me now, Ferg from the Atari 2600 Game by Game podcast, joining me here on the floor of Atari Party 2025. Ferg, How are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for setting aside some time. Thank you.
Yes.
We just met, so hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing to come on and chat with me for a little bit.
Yeah.
So, of course, my first question, have you played Atari today?
Yeah, I have, yes.
Damn straight you
There's
have.
plenty to play around here.
Yeah, lots of Atari going around.
Yeah.
So I want to just kick it off with earliest Atari memories. What is your first memory surrounding anything Atari related, whether it's games, home computers? What was your earliest memory?
Probably playing Pong in my cousin's basement. I guess maybe 76, 77.
Okay.
After it came out. It came out in 75. It came out, so it would have been after that.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, and I love video games. Already there, I forget what I used to play. Sea Wolf or Sea Hunt, I think.
Okay.
And it wasn't an arcade. It was a store that had a little arcade in it. My grandparents brought me to. So I love video games from
since
when I was very
before
young.
then.
Yeah.
So you played arcade, and then you finally got Pong at home.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Man,
Pong was the first Atari thing I played.
And I'm assuming it was the standalone console, right?
Yes.
It wasn't like the
Right.
VCS or anything
No,
like that.
no,
It was
it was before that came out, I think.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. And then your love of video games will continue to flourish ever since then.
Yeah, I would go to arcades, and I got the 2600 eventually,
And now you have a podcast on
now
it.
I have a podcast about it.
How far into it are you going chronologically, or are you going by alphabetically? Or whatever the hell you feel like, Gilly.
I do part number order.
Okay.
And I started with a few Atari games, and then I would branch out to other systems and try to stay in part number order.
Okay.
It's a little restricting, but I'm kind of in a dearth of not great games. Not a dearth, but it's a bunch of great games.
As
in a
you
row.
go through any system chronologically,
Yes.
or through the whole library, you're going to find the ones that understandably got flushed down with the ones that stayed at the bottom. And okay, cool. So, with Atari though, do you have any Christmas memories surrounding Atari? Did you get that Pong console for Christmas?
I got the console for Christmas 1980 because I got Space Invaders with it. It was actually at my cousin's house. We were spending Christmas there. Got that then. And I think we also got Skydiver and Human Cannonball. It came with Combat, of course. And then we played it the whole time we were there. And then my dad hooked it up when we got home and just played it all the time. And then whenever my mom would go food shopping, there was a Consumers there.
Okay.
And a Tiny Tots toy store. It was kind of a New Jersey chain.
Okay.
And I would go over there, and sometimes I would buy a game. Like I bought Adventure at Tiny Tots.
Okay.
Buying video pinball at Consumers. So I didn't play very long. I think maybe till the beginning of '83 is when I stopped.
Right at the crash. Well, the North American crash.
So I missed the whole crash. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing all the games at KB like in '84, but I didn't buy any at the time.
Okay. So you got out of games then for a little bit, is
For
what
a
you're
little
saying.
bit. I still went to the arcade a lot. Like Food Fight. I love Food Fight.
Okay.
Marble Madness. Love those.
Marble Madness is great.
It is
That is
so
a fun game. That's a really fun game.
Yeah.
What got you back into games then?
NES.
NES.
Super
okay.
Mario Bros. My sister wanted it, and she got it, and then I was like, "Oh, this is good." And then my friend was playing Zelda. I didn't know what it was when I went to his house, and he put blew a hole in the wall with a bomb, and at the secret room, I was like, "This is just like the secret room in Adventure. I need this game."
Yeah,
and it hasn't really stopped since.
It hasn't stopped
yeah.
since then. I can understand that, like, kind of. How that interest is, but because I'm a little bit younger than you, so like I first got into it, like I remember seeing Mario 3 and being like, this is a cartoon I could control,
Yeah.
and that blew, because I love cartoons,
Yeah.
and it just blew my mind. I'm like, I can control what's on the TV.
Yeah.
It's the coolest. It still is the coolest
It
feeling.
is, yeah.
It still is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
But okay, so you got the 2600 for Christmas. You got Atari, the Pong console, earlier than that.
Yeah.
Out of the systems you have played, or out of all the systems you've experienced, what's your favorite Atari system?
It's the 2600.
The 2600.
Yeah. I mean, when I started collecting in '95 and I got all the systems, I didn't know the 7800 was a thing. I knew about the 5200, but I never played it until I found one at a flea market. And back then, everything was super cheap. I wish we could go back to those days, but
yeah.
And I actually came up here a lot in the '90s. And found a Box Odyssey down the road at Quakertown, Q-Mart.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yes. Q-Mart is legendary in this, like,
Yes.
the Philly suburb region.
Yep.
Did you have to travel far to get here?
It was like 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours?
It was
Okay.
every other weekend I come up here.
Wow.
I was crazy.
So, and it's still 2 hours to get here, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Then. Okay.
For what
So
we moved, yeah.
I asked the other people who've traveled a distance to get here, what makes you want to travel? Like, what is the cause of, or what is the justification for a man traveling 2 hours just to come for a 4-hour party of Atari?
I mean, 2 hours is on the low side for a lot of the people here.
Yes.
But it's just that I feel I connect with people that listen to my podcast. We play games on Discord together sometimes.
Okay.
But usually by myself. So if I come to this once a year, I can play games. It makes me want to play games more when I get home, and I can talk to people that I've made friends with because of the podcast, really.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So because I haven't listened to your show yet, we just like subscribe to each other's
Yeah.
shows. So you're a solo host, like no
Yeah,
guests.
it's just me.
It's you talking about the games that
droning endlessly on and on.
Oh man, dude, that's hard to do. Like, props to you, because one thing I can't do is be a solo host.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be engaging enough, if that makes sense. So it's tough. It's tough.
I just try to do the best I can and try to just try. The reason why I wanted to do the podcast was because I wasn't playing the games at that time, and I wanted to go through the games, not just play the same old games I always played.
Yeah.
So I figure if I went through them all in some kind of manner, then other people would find them too, which is a good thing that people have told me that they discovered this game because they listened to the show. So I'm I guess I'm kind of what's the word? I'm old now, so I can't remember words anymore. I don't know.
That's
I
all
just
right.
spread the good word of Atari.
Yeah, you're evangelizing.
Evangelizing, yes, that's the word.
Yeah, no, I get you. I grew up evangelical, so I got all that vocabulary down.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, for Atari Party 2025, what's something you've enjoyed seeing on the show floor? Is there anything that stuck out to you this year?
What's it called now? There was a little handheld over there. I think Atari, some arcade thing.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
I know I've heard about it, but I wasn't interested, but now I'm interested. Holding it in my hand and playing it. I've played Tempest, one of my favorite games. And now I really want one, which is probably not a good thing.
Is it the one, I guess it's back over that way?
It's right over there.
Okay,
yeah,
I know. It's a newer product, right?
I don't think it's a game station. It's I think Atari makes it.
Okay.
I'm not sure. People are screaming at me right
it's
now.
It's fine. People are screaming at me too, but I can't hear them, so it's all good. I would say, because I just realized I haven't said mine, like what I've really enjoyed this year. I think, I don't know which order these interviews are going to be, and I'm kind of splicing them all up together. I'd have to say, as the same with last year, is the music visualizer, just because it's one of my favorite things about looking into not just game history, but I guess old tech as well, is seeing stuff that was ahead of its time, things that were existed that you didn't expect to exist until like 10 or 15 years later.
Right.
Like my go-to example is the Sega channel for the Sega Genesis, where you could like go online. I'm like, what do you mean there was like downloadable games on the Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
There's actually that on the Atari 2600 as well. What is it, Games Line or what? I forget.
Game Line modem. Yeah.
Game Line. Yeah. Shit like that, where I'm like, what do you? That's something that's like a modern convenience and luxury, but that existed back then too.
Yeah.
And when I see the music visualizer, I'm thinking of like Windows 95 and Windows XP and stuff like that, all the Windows Music Media Player like visualizers. But this is something that you could, like, the dude's got an iPod hooked up to it, which in and of itself is obsolete now, which is a little funny to think about.
That's true.
But yeah, so I love coming to this, not only because it's close to me, but also because I get to see shit like this. It's fun. So I don't really have many more questions for you. This was just like small little quick hits. So before I let you go, though, where can the good people find you online? And do you have any social media? Would you like to promote anything?
I'm on Facebook and Blue Sky and Twitter or X. And if you go to 2600 Game by Game Podcast.blogspot.com, you can find all that stuff too. I have a Discord server as well. So,
and then people can go check out that show wherever they find their podcast. So Fergman, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you setting aside some time during Atari Party.
Yeah.
And thank you, and enjoy the rest of Atari Party.
You too. Thank you.
And that is all I got for y'all today on this episode of Still Loading. Those are all the people I got to chat with at Atari Party 2025. It was so much fun, man. I loved going to Atari Party. I loved going last year. I was so happy to go back again this year, and I hope it continues to happen because it really is a lot of fun. And on a more personal note, 2025 has been a rough year for me. I'm not going to go into details. Things are fine. Like, everything's all good. Like, things are starting to resolve. But, there's been a lot of stuff happening. And this isn't just for me. A lot of people have been hurting this year. So 2025 has been a tough year. But some of the genuine highlights of my year has been Atari Party. Both the one I recorded this one in and the one from December of last year. Like, it's just a wonderful time, and I'm so happy I got to record there. I'm so happy I got to go again. Once again, shout out to Pete for letting me record. It's always a good time, man. I really enjoy it. So if you also want to check out Atari Party, if you're able to, make sure you follow Pete on his social media, like we mentioned before. And just to reiterate, it's rectapete.bsky.social. That's RECTAPETE at bsky.social. Of course, there will be a link in the show notes as well. But if you would like to keep up to date on when the next Atari Party is happening, you can follow him there and you will be able to see when the next one happens. But that's it. That's all the time I got for you on this one. So if you like what you hear and you want to see more of what I do and support me, there's a couple ways to do that. First off, you can follow me on social media at stillloadingpodcast.com on Blue Sky, at stillloadingpod on Instagram and Facebook, and I also am I'm also at Still Loading Pod on Twitch, where I stream whenever the hell I'm able to. It just kind of depends on my schedule. But if you follow me there, you can know when I go live. If you really like the show and you want to support it, the easiest way to do it, and it's free, is just give it a 5-star rating and review on whichever podcasting app you use. It does help more people find the show. You can also support the show over on Patreon. I have a lot of bonus content over there for my patrons, patreon.com/stillloadingpod. And for $1 a month, my patrons get all the episodes a little bit earlier with better audio quality, as well as access to patron voting rights, which help guide the direction of the show. For $3 a month, you get all of that at the $1 tier, plus patron shoutouts, which you heard at the beginning of the episode. For $4 a month, you get all the stuff from the previous 2 tiers, plus 2 mini bonus episodes every month. And for $5 a month, you get everything, all the previous tier stuff, plus access to my monthly movie podcast, which right now is still Muppeting, the only Muppet movie podcast where me and a few friends play the music, we light the lights, and we get together to talk about some Muppets on Still Muppeting Tonight. Still working on the tagline, but that is all over there at patreon.com/stillloadingpod. Monthly movie podcast, bonus episodes, early access, topic voting, all that good stuff, all over at patreon.com/stillloadingpod. But that's it. That's all the time I got. Thank you all so much for listening. And with all that said, listeners, I will see you all next time.
Let's go. Why am I doing this?